everybody, it's Robbie from Southern California, and today I wanted to share with you something that Gary and I decided to buy and try because we don't know anything about it. What we ended up buying, and I bought this on eBay, was potato mint. Now what we did is we bought cuttings, and he offered them two ways. He offered them as cuttings and he offered them as a rooted plant. Doing a little bit of research, some people said it rotted right away and they didn't have luck with it. But we decided to go ahead and just get cuttings. It was under $10 with shipping and everything. And here we got 5 cuttings. So I'll show you the unboxing when it came. It came a little over a week ago. And you'll see Gary opening the box with such excitement.
For our records, this is the potato mint. Right?
Yes.
On eBay. Is it in the mint family?
Yes.
Okay.
Nothing you get at the grocery store? They don't sell this at the... It just looks familiar for some reason.
Because it's in the mint family.
I don't smell anything. Okay, so he sent how many stems? I bought 3, that's right. Did you root it in water? Are you going to go straight in soil, aren't you? Or
Well, it says to root in water, so I don't know.
he does say that?
That's what his little
Okay.
thing said.
How many are there?
5.
So he told me that you can't get it at the store. I thought some of the specialty markets or the Asian markets would carry them because they carry all kinds of stuff you can find. But he said no, he's never seen them before. These came from Florida, and apparently they do quite well once you get them established. You don't need a rooting hormone to grow them. And what he suggested, let me take them out of here and show you what's going on. He sent a note and he suggested to get it in a jar and to just put water in there and just root it that way, not straight in soil. So even though I probably would have put it straight in some damp soil, I did it his way because he knows best, and I figured I will go the way they tell me to do it. And what I did though is, let me show you this. I knew that when you put it in water, all the bottom leaves, see here? All the bottom leaves are going to go brown and they're going to die. Because anything that's in the water itself will die. And just drop the brown leaf. See? When you have them in the soil, in the water, not in soil, they're going to, well, even in soil, anything that's underneath is going to die. So what I did, I'll show you here, is and I'll show you a clip. I went ahead and took all the little ones off from the bottom. Let me show you, there's a few that just started already. But as soon as it came, see, even this one started to grow now. See how it's got growth on the bottom? There was growth all the way on the end because he just did cuttings and he just sent them. So I took these little growths off, the new growth, and I did mine by planting it in paper cups. And you know what? They are doing great. Look how big they got. They were this size when I took them off. They were that tiny and they just took off. So I've got a couple of them in here that are doing really, really good. I even stuck some leaves in there. Anything. It didn't matter. I was going to stick everything in there. Anything off the bottom. This one of them made it. There was another one that was just too tiny, but that one made it. So now I've got these 2 already started in soil, and I'm going to layer them and put these on my deck garden and put them in pots. See, they're already breaking through the paper right away. And I'm going to leave them in the pot because these things are going to take off. They'll split as they start to grow. I'm going to put them in something else, and I'm going to layer them in my container gardening as I compost and place on the top. With these, Gary's going to plant them now because see how well they rooted? Look at all the roots. This is amazing. Look at this stem. This particular stem is rooting all the way up. So here we kept the mint in water. And the ones that were left in water, look how they rooted. Really nice. Those are roots. So they rooted immediately. These were beautiful fresh stems. They came all across over 3,000 miles to us through the mail, just first class, and they're doing great. I'm very impressed. He told me what day he was going to send them, and they came right away in the mail. They didn't get lost. And they looked really good, and they are doing fantastic. What these are is they're perennial, and they grow these tubers, and they look like little potatoes, and they call them potato mint because it is in the mint family, and they go dormant when the weather gets cold. Keep that in mind, like all mint. And they do quite well. I heard you can get, if you have like a patch of them, you can get hundreds and hundreds of these little potatoes. They're about the size of walnuts. And you can just pick them and you roast them, you cook them. You cook them when you eat them, just like you would a white potato. And I figured you can add them into stews or soups in the winter. You pick them, you know, when the weather starts to get cool, you go through and you pull all the little tubers up, all the little potatoes. You harvest them and bring them in and you start cooking them. If you're in an area where there's snow, I would suggest if you decided to try them, keep them in pots. And at that point, I would bring them in. I wouldn't leave them out in that cold because I don't think they would do well. The stem is very, you know, like I'm not going to say succulent. It's like a mint, but look how square. The stem is very square and very thick. Thicker than my chocolate mint or my peppermint. So it probably likes water, and by sucking up water, which it feeds its roots with and develops those little potatoes, I would imagine this would freeze and really do a number on it. So that's why I personally would take it in. But you know, you could try leaving some outside in an area. But see that leaves go brown that was under the water? That's why I took the cuttings off the bottom. And now that it's getting a lot of new side growth, even while it was, look at that, while it was in the jar, I can even cut those off and get more growing. So we're going to have them growing in a couple different places, just in case something happens. It's always good to not have all your eggs in one basket, so they say. And we'll try it like in Gary's garden, and I'm going to try it on the deck. In the compost in place, I'm going to put them on top in containers, and then I'll put some pots around. I think Gary's going to take most of them, and there's 5 here, and I'm going to take 1. Now, they also do produce, from what I understand, I don't know that much about them, a yellow flower. And so there are people selling the seeds. I personally would not buy the seeds. I would definitely buy cuttings from somebody or a plant, because I know that when I grow mint, if I try to grow chocolate mint or peppermint, it doesn't grow true. So especially when you've got other mint family plants around, they cross-pollinate with the bees. And then you could end up with who knows what. And with this, you want to end up with what you bought. You want to get those little potatoes. You want it to grow right. As far as the leaves, I have heard they're edible. Let me see if I have not tasted them. And I heard that they have a slight sweetness to them. I should find a nice little leaf. Because if I take one that's brown, I'm going to take this little tiny leaf here. Let's see. If I pass out, call 911 for me. No. Let's see. They say it's sweet. Wow. You know what? Very, kind of a strong stevia taste to me. Very similar to stevia, but I don't think I personally wouldn't call it sweet. Then I have a sweet tooth, so it's got to be really sweet. With Gary tastes different things. He may think it tastes sweet. I heard that it's good like mint. You know, if you have an upset stomach, it's the same thing. It's the same family. So from everything I have done research from, the leaves are edible too. But I'm going to say not the best tasting. I really like the peppermint. I really like the chocolate. Even orange mint to eat, it tastes good. You know, all the mints have their own niche. They all have their own, to me, place. Like I use chocolate mint and spearmint and peppermint in tea. I don't use orange mint and I don't use strawberry mint. Strawberry mint smells good. It doesn't taste to me good anywhere. But the orange mint, I like adding that into salads because it has that essence of orange. And I add that into, let's say, if we're making scrambled eggs or something. So they all have their own thing. With this, I think I'll leave the leaves. No aftertaste. It is kind of like a wild mint, but it has a little bit of that stevia effect to me. So maybe that's why they say it's sweet. But for me, I think I'm just going to grow this for what I bought it for. We're going to grow it for the potatoes. We'll see how it grows. And you don't need any rooting hormone or anything. And you'll see the footage too on how I did this. And these were really tiny when I took them off a week ago. And they've just taken off. I actually took this and sat it on my deck outside. And this went not in the water. These went straight into soil, just some soil I had. Nothing in particular, nothing fancy. Supposed to, grow really good. It likes good drainage, but like with mint, they do like water. And the hummingbirds are all hiding because it's like 93 degrees today. It's warm. So they came out this morning. They went through a gallon and then they disappeared, and they're kind of coming back and forth, as you can see. And that's pretty much it. So I think this is going to be a lot of fun, having these little potatoes that are like walnuts, and it's a vegetable. It's an herb, but it's actually a vegetable. It's got quite a few vitamins in it, so it's very nutritious. And I think this will be fun to grow. If I end up with a whole lot, maybe I can spread the joy. But right now, it's going to take a while to build up our numbers, so to say. We'll see how it grows. But boy, the way it is growing here in a week in a jar of water, I'm very impressed. I don't know how the heat will do with it. We'll see. They have not been in the sun. Just sitting in the window. I've had them sitting in the window for sunlight, and it's done really, really well. So we'll keep up, keep you all up to date, I should say. We'll see how it does in Gary's garden. I'll show you when I do a garden tour or just do an update on this. And I will give the link to where I got mine because I was very impressed with him. He was very quick to answer all emails, and he let me know what day he was shipping. It came on time, didn't get lost. And I'm really impressed when somebody's like that. There was something recently I bought that I did share, but I didn't share the link to the person because I didn't like that I bought it from him, and he didn't hear from him for 2 weeks. And I kept emailing him. Finally, he messaged me like 3 times that he shipped it out already, and he hadn't shipped it. And when people do that, I can't endorse them. So I didn't feel I wanted to share that. But with him, he was fantastic. He sent beautiful fresh cuttings. They came, and here's the proof. They rooted beautifully. A nice letter telling how to take care of it. And I'm overly impressed with him. So I will leave the link underneath. I'm not trying to tell you to grow it. I don't know anything about it to tell you to grow it. But, if you like trying different things, and that's what we like. We try it. If it grows really good here, then we'll keep growing it. If it doesn't, we'll try something else. I'm always impressed with plants that are edible to grow, especially something that looks like it could be just growing in a garden, a beautiful flower garden, and then you dig it up and in the winter before it gets too cold, and you have all these little potatoes you can take in. And like I said, if you're in the snow, I would definitely bring the pot in, put it in a warmer area for the winter, and see how it grows. So I'm impressed, totally impressed. And I decided to do this inside today since it's so warm. This will be easier to do it this way, and I can get good close-ups so you can see how it looks. So these are the little tiny cuttings. They literally were half the size of that, even less. And look how well they did. And I planted mine straight in soil, much different than the way he told me to do it. So I'm going to guess you could probably do it both ways, especially once you start growing it on your own. I'll just be picking it, throwing it in pots, and just keeping the pot really damp, not waterlogged, but very damp until they start to take off. So I hope, I've given you some ideas of new things, and it is in the mint family, and it should grow really good. It's got a very unusual stem. It's very square, very thick, very square looking stem. Isn't that cool? It's got a square stem. And soft leaves, slightly fuzzy. So I think it's interesting. I think it's worth trying. I don't know why more people don't have it, and it was a little difficult to find. I seem to find almost everything on eBay. I don't know. So with that, enjoy, have a wonderful day, and don't forget to eat what you grow. Bye-bye. Cool. They're all so beautiful. All of them. I wonder which one I'm going to take. I like that one. Why? Because it's got a whole bunch of side shoots, so I won't have one. I'll have a whole bunch more. And then I'll keep track of them. So that's it. Okay, Gary, I tasted a leaf. It's been an hour and I'm still alive. So if you want to try one now. It's just that one guy on YouTube said they're not edible, and the research I've done says they are edible.
I believe they're edible.
That's the mint family. And they claim that it has a sweetness to it. Let's see what you think.
No, I would say the opposite, really. It tastes like wild mint.
I thought it kind of had the texture and a little bit of flavor like stevia without sweetness.
Yeah, it's got that stevia bite to it a little bit without the sweetness. That's a good description, because some of the stevia's got that flavor, sort of a medicinal sort of flavor.
Okay, so you don't taste sweetness either.
No.
All right, well, and you don't know what would happen once it's in the ground. It might be completely different as it starts to take off and grow and develop the little potatoes underneath.
Yeah, I would say it's more like cat mint or nepeta. I've got that growing in my garden too, so it's mint, but it's not what you expect mint to taste like.
Okay, I just figured I'd have you get your 2 cents into this. Now you can tell everybody goodbye.
Goodbye. Have a good day. Don't forget to eat what you grow.